Hello, this is Notaspringchick. I'm here yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Except this week when I'm not here yesterday, today, and tomorrow. But I'll be here for future tomorrows. And I was here for... Anyway, I'll be back soon. But for now, I'm on a family vacation.
Russia calls halt the 5-day invasion of Georgia. Of course, it was a very short halt. Roadside bomb explodes near bus in Tripoli, killing at least 9. You know, roadside bombs are unfortunately big business nowadays. Principal behind Massachusetts high school pregnancy pact resigns because basically it looks like he got a little carried away. Firefighting crews battle lightning spark blaze on Mount Hood. You know, lightning causes just as much fires as people. The difference is lightning is environmentally friendly. I guess that's the way they call it. You know, to me, a fire is a fire. Ron Paul's wife to undergo third surgery, remains in intensive care. Basically, this is the third surgery since Thursday. I mean, she must be in very serious condition, so we all feel bad for Mr. Paul and his wife. Many are now pawning prized possessions and heirlooms to stay afloat. You know, well, that's what happens when you spend more money than you bring in. Interest in sex does not wane for mostly elderly men, the survey shows. Unfortunately, it does for young women liking elderly men, though. Most Americans back holding Olympics in China. You know, I always wonder who they take these surveys of, because before the Olympics, most of the surveys showed Americans were unhappy about, you know, the fact that China was holding it. The Golden Girls no more. They were beaten by the Chinese gymnasts. You know, well, that had to be expected. You know, it basically said the tide always goes to the home team. Joel Osteen's wife eyed cockpit after attack. Flight attendant says, you know, like if she'd have been going towards the cockpit, you know that she would have been stopped and she would have been put under arrest by the feds, not being sued for money. Isaac Hayes likely died of stroke, the sheriff's department said. You know, the man was built like a rock. I mean, this is a guy that had muscles on his muscles, so he probably just one exercise too many. Unfortunately, he's 65. Rack contrast cost at least $85 million. Well, I'm surprised they didn't cost a lot more than that. U.S. allies wait punishment of Russia, but they're not going to do anything because Russia supplies most of their oil, and basically Russia also knows that the United States is going to have a weak foreign policy towards them, so they can do whatever they choose to do. Underground FEMA fuel tanks could leak, or they might not leak. You know, it's a flip of a coin. Steve Jobs confirmed iPhone as a kill switch. You know, wouldn't it be nice to tell people when they buy something that something like that exists on their equipment, instead of having to find out about it in the print? Flying piece of art causes museum chaos in Switzerland. Well, you know, basically when you got a lot of things that are delegates, you don't want to have something flying around the building. The Navy relieves commander of Air Recon Squadron. Well, eventually everyone gets relieved. It's just a matter of fact. You just rotate them out of their position, whether they've done something wrong or not. We got confusion reigns in Zambia talks. Well, since the guy that's in charge is in charge and not likely to turn any power over to the guy that may have actually won the election, you're going to have confusion. The Iraqi governor escapes injury and suicide blast. You know, I just don't see how you can go to heaven blowing people up like that. Activists detained after Olympics protest. Well, if you're going to protest in China, you're going to get detained because that's not a democracy. You know, Chuck Hagel, as the Obama vice president, I can't speak either. Oldecam, you know, Oldecam is not very good without Notaspringchick, as you can tell. He draws concerns from both sides. I mean, the Republicans are basically not going to support him for re-election. The Democrats don't really want him either. McCain and Obama both condemn Russian aggression. The only problem is they say that, you know, the Democrats say McCain is speaking too harsh to the Russians, and Obama says that we should have negotiated all of this before it happened. Japan economy is shrinking. The second quarter was a disaster for it. Well, you still got to do the fact that you don't have any money. You can't spend what you don't have. If you can't spend what you don't have and you can't put it on a credit card, you're up the creek. Oil is up to $113, $113 going on $115 today, simply because there's a problem with the pipeline coming through the area around Georgia. And for some unknown reason, our stockpiles are all of a sudden down. They weren't down 2 days ago, but they're down today. Ford executives say the company can weather the downturn. Well, certainly they can. I mean, first of all, the company has to do is retool and sell cars that people want, and it'll be back in business again. Qantas grounds 6 planes to check maintenance files. Well, Qantas has had one problem after another with planes. I mean, almost too many problems to just be an accident. The stocks today have fell sharply amid the financial sector concern. Well, let's see, the housing market is down no matter what people are saying. People are not buying stuff at the stores. The pre-sales for school supplies and clothing is not as high as they expected for the fall school year, so things are going to be down. Can New York infrastructure handle floods, intense heat? Well, can anybody's infrastructure today handle that? Because they were built at a time when floods weren't as bad and heat wasn't as bad. They didn't count on the future. Nature Group says humpback whales are recovering, and then you have other groups that say that, saying they're recovering is basically like giving them a death sentence. Scientists closer to developing an invisibility cloak. Now this one does get me. We go out to the beach a lot. If you're standing on the beach in the middle of the sand and there's nobody around you, an invisibility cloak might work. Try using an invisibility cloak at rush hour on Madison Avenue and see if somebody doesn't see you. NASA safety panel worries about moonship design. Well, shouldn't they have worried about the design before they got really deep into it? I mean, it seems there was something wrong with that logic. After combat, citizens turning to alcohol. Well, most of them turn to alcohol before combat, and they turn to alcohol during combat, and it only makes sense is that after combat that they're also going to turn to alcohol. We have a rather serious mind, globalism, the mark for the animal kingdom today. Peace in our time, that's what you get when you negotiate with dictators, and unfortunately it actually has nothing to do with peace. So until the spring chick comes back to actually do her side of the thing, she's on vacation now, folks. This is Oldecam coming to you today all by himself.